All right, guys, here we go. It's the final game in the Ultimate Battle 9-game series between Scan and Motive. It's tied up 4-4, which is exactly how I like my Game 9s. Again, let me know, guys, if you have enjoyed this series or just like this type, even if it's not like the players or the matchup, like you'd rather see a PvZ or, oh god, yes, a Zerg vs. Zerg Ultimate Battle, amazing as that would be. Do let me know in those comments down below. And of course, remember to subscribe and all that jazz. Okay. So far in the series, again, I've liked the openers of Scan very, very well, but Motive, it seems like a lot of the mid games he's done well. I think he screwed up notably in the Polypoid mid game. But other than that, I think he's been pretty solid in those areas. Yeah, we'll see how it goes down here. It's on Ascension, so I would say that this is a little bit Motive favored. Ascension tends to favor Protoss a bit. The mains are definitely wide open for Reaver drop harassment. And, you know... Oh, wrong graphics there, sorry. It's wide open for Reaver drop harassment, and carriers are especially good on Ascension. Any sort of carrier rush is super, super strong. Also, Nexus First, very, very strong here as well, and you can see that right now, Motive is banking up a lot of minerals, so it does look like he's going to go for that Nexus first. Scan, we'll see if he does anything quick expandy. Like, this could turn into a fast expand, but no. Gas goes down, so... The next question is, will he try to bust this, or will he go for something like a Vulture drop, or, you know, just expand and be a bit behind? It's hard to say, but down goes that Nexus first for Motive, so a nice start to him. SCV, which way will it go? Of course, if it goes directly to Motive, that gives Scan a ton more time to react and alter his build. Oh, and it is. It's going to go over and scout Motive first, so very, very nice from Scan. And I wonder if he's going to do like an SCV Marine pull. It's hard to do here because this little choke is just like so many things can go wrong when you're trying to micro through here, right? So that it's also a very long rush distance. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to actually end up seeing something like that. But he gets in, sees gate gas, right? So that's already less units. Like if it's gate gas, then you're going to have a lot more zealots to fight against. I bet you he has CV pulls. Let's see. Factory is on the way. If he makes a third Marine, then we know he's attacking. In fact, 2 Marines is already a little bit suspicious. Like, you might go 2 just to block the probe when it tries to wing around, but, okay, here we go. He does have the 3rd Marine being made. So, yeah, I would say he's almost certainly going to go for a Marine SCV Vulture attack. Right? But he's out here getting ready to expand? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, the Marine walked all the way across. You know, he might be trying to, like, fake that he's attacking because the Marine came across. Okay, probe is going to go back up. Yeah, I'm interested and just slightly confused about the opener, because if your opponent has the command center, you don't actually, especially if you're going to go Vulture, you don't actually need to make 3 Marines right off the bat. You can skimp. You can get 1 Marine or 2 Marines and be completely fine there, because the Vulture can kind of kill everything. But here comes the Vulture now. We'll be able to kill off that probe, and of course he can run down here and maybe put some harassment on. A single goon will be out when he gets there, though, so that's going to do a pretty good job of stopping him. Range on the way. I love the Vulture kind of the Zealot kind of blocking that hole the Vulture could get through. Looks like he has a better idea of where the Vulture's coming in from now. Of course, the Zealots are kind of standing there so that you can't just run past easily and start killing probes with the Vulture, because if you can get your Vulture in like right away, and this is part of why he probably has the SCV in the main base. If the Dragoon, for instance, pops out and chases the SCV, the Vulture can actually go in and kill 2 probes, 3 probes, and suddenly you're not nearly as far behind as you felt before. Like, look, this is going to be pretty standard. 31 SCVs against 24 SCVs, right? So it's like a 7 worker advantage right now for Motive. And that's a pretty damn big advantage. But if you do get in there with that first vulture, kill 2 or 3 of those, it's not quite as bad. Even though they've been mining from here longer, so their saturation overall is better. It's definitely a big advantage. Don't get me wrong there. I'm just kind of saying that's one way you can start to catch up. Okay, very, 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 very fast armory in +1. Very quick second gas as well. Mines are up all over the place. He definitely wants to slow Motive down from taking more bases. And it's going to be Scan's goal, I think, to just get 2-1 and max out as quickly as is humanly possible. That is oftentimes how you want to end up playing on Ascension, because if they do go up for a rush up to carriers, you really need a max supply and those 2-1 upgrades, which are known for being extremely strong against those carriers. Okay, more Dragoons being made. Observatory coming up. Third Nexus gets started before 6 minutes. Really, really quick. Academy. Second Factory. He'll have to start his starport very shortly here as well. Damn, that is such a quick +1. You know, the older builds that were 2-1 rushes, you'd get the starport closer to 7 minutes. Here he's got to start it like now. Yeah, there it is. Already started. So Scan rushing up those upgrades immediately. But we don't know yet exactly how Motive wants to play it. This is actually something that can be a little bit of a mind game on the map. Because carriers are so strong on Ascension, sometimes you'll get people that just play like more gateway heavy. You know, maybe they'll go into arbiters instead and just kind of like, you know, fight head on against your timing push. Well, we have the comsats coming up, so Scan can start checking on that. Gonna make a Goliath just in case anything like a Reaver comes in. eBay coming up. He should be starting that science facility as well now. There it is. Ah, and now we know. +1 area attacks. Well, that shows you how strong it is. It's not like this is some great secret. In fact, he scans. He sees the spinning cybernetics core as well as the Stargate. So that's a ton of intel. Now, I think for Scan, how many shots are we gonna miss? That's 8? We missed 9 or 10 shots trying to kill 1 mine. Insane. Insane. That is the craziest thing. Like, nothing was happening there, so it's not impactful, but whenever I see something like that, my God, it's crazy. Anyways, Scan should reconfirm with a scan at some point that he is in fact making the carriers, because there can be a little bit of mind games there too, where you scan for this and you're like, okay, he's going carriers, let's counter the hell out of that, and then suddenly they're not going carriers, they're switching over and doing something that Goliaths won't do anything against. So definitely something he wants to think about. Third base is up, third gas is up. Scan over here getting ready to take his own third base a little bit after 8 minutes. His upgrades are just flying through. That +2 attack is already on the way. Got started closer to 8 minutes, which is pretty crazy. Sets up around this third base location. More gateways coming up. Carrier production will begin. And once he gets his carrier production really moving, he will want to get that Citadel up and get Zealot legs, kind of such an important part that comes afterwards. And then eventually into Psystorm, but that will probably be after like a 4th base. So Motive just kind of sitting here right now. Of course, he's the one that's, well, they're both trying to basically scale up as best as they possibly can. And really the two things that scale very, very well in big numbers, and the one that scales the best for Protoss would be carriers in this matchup. You know, basically the more carriers you get, the more powerful they are. Like, 2 are almost, there's no power there. 4 are quite powerful. 6 is actually where you start having to have over 12 Goliaths. And anything above that, they can kind of fight anything. So, Motive is just trying to get up to those big, big numbers. Whereas Scan, his scaling is through the upgrades, right? He needs to get into 2-1 immediately. He's going to want to start his 3-2 most likely, unless he wants to go like for a really big like all-in-ish type thing where he's spending every mineral, but very likely he'll go right into that 3-2. And he just wants to be able to put so much pressure on that he's about to kill Motive if Motive doesn't fight him. That's like the only way you can really force a fight as Terran anyways. You apply so much pressure towards what's important to them. In this case, it'll be towards that main base area, towards this high ground specifically, because that'll let you control a lot of the Protoss army movement. Then they have to come and fight you. So I like the pylon wall, getting ready to possibly take this base. Does expand to his 4th down here. We have +2 air attacks on the way. The Citadel just now starting legs. Has +1 coming as well. First 2 carriers are out. And yeah, you can see the supply pretty well above for Motive, but it's not going to stay looking like that. Scan is starting to really do his factory explosion at this point. Let's take a look at his actual unit counts. Okay, so he's got about 10 tanks, so he's going to need a couple more of those, and then we're going to see lots of Vultures and Goliaths. He's going to want something for the first push out. Well, it matters exactly when he feels like he can push out. I honestly don't think he can push out right away, but hold on, hold that thought. We have the carriers coming in for a bit of harassment on these turrets, and this is just because there's nothing else to do right now. Literally, like, his army can't really go across the map and attack right now. It's not really strong enough, so he just comes in, does a little bit of harassment, loses some interceptors, but, you know, kills a turret, forces repairs, whatever. There's no reason not to do it, I guess, is a good way to put it. 3-2 starts for Scan immediately. A lot of Goliaths. But yeah, so what we're going to want to see from Scan is probably 12 tanks, about 12 Goliaths, and then a ton of Vultures. And then as the game gets bigger, it's going to be more and more Goliaths and Vultures. Now, I mean, obviously siege tanks are amazing, but you don't want to overproduce them, because you have to have enough Goliaths to chew through the carriers, because the carriers are going to be what kills siege tanks, right? So you have to have enough Goliaths there. The siege tanks, because the ground army is just not going to be as big or as strong as it normally is with a carrier build, the siege tank count doesn't need to be quite as high, right? You're playing against Arbiter, yeah, 24 tanks. Against carrier, 12 is going to do the same type of job. Okay, here we go. Motive going to start attacking in here to the 3rd. This is such a well-defended area. I do not like this attack. He's just, all he has to do is target the tanks on goons. And you can see Motive losing a gigantic amount of army. What did he kill? What did he kill here? Like 2 tanks, 3 tanks? Did some damage to them? I do not think that was a good attack at all for Motive. And suddenly Motive, very low on army. Doesn't really have a big bank. We're on like similar supplies. He was up before that. And he's getting Psystorm during this as well. He has more upgrades coming. He has more carriers. His army scales well. I just don't think that was a good attack. I think that was a really poor attack coming out of him. Now, he's going to do a little bit of a counter here. These few gateway units he has don't matter all that much. But coming in, he is going to have to be careful at the carriers. You cannot be losing those. Right, dragging some mines in here, killing off some tanks, so that's really good. And now as the Goliaths come around, you can see why this map is so good for carriers. So there's a ton of Goliaths that walked around, and he can fly out of here. Well, I mean, if you fly like that, you're going to lose carriers. Well, Motive not putting out the best Game 9, in my opinion, here. It's a little bit rough. He's thrown a lot of army away at this point. Scan moving over across the map. His army looking really, really, really fearsome. Those 3-2 upgrades are going to be done relatively soon. The standing army of Motive, very small. He's down 20 army supply right now. He lost 2 carriers, so instead of having 6, and I was telling you, 6 is way stronger than 4, but he's back down to 4 because he just kind of suicided them in here after suiciding his army up here. All right, well, Scan just kind of walking forward at this point. Does look poised to take this game down. This 3rd base, I don't think it can last. The Goliaths overwhelming. Siege tanks coming in as well. Those 3-2 upgrades again, almost done. 4 carriers here. Another one coming up. Sieging up on this high ground. Okay, the first Psystorm doesn't do all that much. Pushing forward with the Goliaths, just keeping them, those carriers, off of his siege tanks. All right, what do you do here, Motive? This is a dark situation for you. Scan is taking another base here. He's getting his +3 armor. His upgrades are phenomenal. He has a decent amount of turrets to slow down harassment. It's like Motive trying to run around the army. He does have some Psy Storms in here. Let's see how he can do. Trying to soften up these Goliaths a little bit. Doesn't seem to be working all that well. Kind of surrounded right now. Well, you can see the Goliaths kind of single-handedly killing everything. It's just the army size not big enough for Motive here. Gonna run back towards this expansion, it looks like. Maybe just leave the units over there, fly back to the main base with the carriers. The carrier count is getting pretty scary. And imagine if he had 2 more, how scary that could be. Instead, he is taking a ton of hull damage on a couple of those as the Goliaths pushed him back. This High Templar, dies at 74 energy, just short of another Psy Storm. Looks like Motive wanting to re-expand. Scan coming down. We're going to attack into this base. And, well, yeah, I guess Motive's going to lose another base here. Like, the scan is continuing to grow. Motive is continuing to shrink. And again, I feel like so much of this just comes down to that attack here, the carrier dive here. It just, I mean, if you don't have that big mass of ground units to buy time for your carriers to output their damage, you're not going to have a good time against such upgraded mech units. Now, you will end up picking up these Goliaths, but these Goliaths are actually staying here to buy time to get his siege tanks out. If he tried to run it all together, the carriers would basically be on top of the siege tanks right now, finishing the Goliaths and then going after the tanks. So that buys him quite a bit of time. More Goliaths coming down to help out. Yeah, we have 8 carriers right now. A lot of High Templars mixed in. Gonna go ahead, siege up. See what these 8 carriers can do. 12 Goliaths do not beat 8 carriers, so there's a possibility that he can kill off this army. So maybe Scan attacking a little bit too quickly this time. He is up 20 supply, but actually that's mostly in workers right now. So yeah, it seems like this was not the greatest attack timing exactly from Scan. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for him, but it does allow Motive to pick off additional units more easily, I guess. Okay, he picks off a carrier. Not too bad. Starts to push up with the rest of his army. Gonna remove that mine. The siege tanks, of course, doing insane damage against these dragoons. We hear another blimp pop there. Picks off all the siege tanks. That means the rest of his army actually can fight a bit better at this point. And kind of similar as far as that army supply goes, but we should see Scan kind of rocket up at this point. If he just kind of sits back and masses, he's going to be able to win it. Like, look at the economy here, right? There's like no mineral patches, no mineral patches. He did save this Nexus, so that's his one saving grace, I guess. But Scan just has everything going on right now. Well, a little bit of carrier harassment. What he wants is the Goliaths to walk into the main base to deal with him, but it looks like they've mostly come over to this side. Some will have to go in to try to push this out. This looks to me, though, like Scan wants to do more of a killing move. Now, that being said, High Templar's coming out. It's going to weaken that a little bit. The Goliaths in the main base are going to push back the carriers, so of course the carriers can leave that area and come support the ground army. I tell you, if Motive comes back in this game, he's an amazing gamer. Like, look at his income, how slowly it's going up right now. He's way down in supply. He's way down in workers. His upgrades are good. He's got +3 air attacks. He's making an invisible man, so that's always useful, right? 3/3 upgrades, though, for Scan. Oh, picks off another carrier there from his main base with the Goliaths. Gonna come over and actually knock out these 2 siege tanks. We are very siege tank light, so that is something that's a little bit of a problem. You do want to rebuild your siege tanks. You don't want to, even if you're way ahead, you don't want to fight with only Goliath. The ground units of Protoss fight a little bit too well against that. I mean, in this case, it's 1-0 against 3/3, so maybe not that well. But but then you add Psystorm in, it gets a little bit difficult. Okay, that's kind of hilarious. Psystorm's the SCV's repairing the gas. Still more harassment, and you know, you can see, right? If he wasn't way far behind, we'd be looking at this and saying, how are you going to deal with this over time? Like, this is gaining so much value. And honestly, it is gaining value, but I don't think enough to make this equal this, and this, and this, and this. Right? Not as likely. All right, Scan, trying to deal with these carriers. Oh, those are some sick Psystorms. But again, I think the standing army might be a bit too big. Good vision there. Oh, I like the D-Matrix on the tank that he was actually trying to target down. Focuses down another carrier, so we're down to 7. Oh, tries to get another one. So close there. Yeah, it does end up getting that as well. Motive, just nothing going on right now. Did get another Nexus up, so I guess that's good. You know, if he had one more base, like if this base was still mining, I would give him a shot in this game. The carriers are being, like, pretty nasty here. He's got a good position. He's got a nice arc. It's not like the Goliaths can walk up the ramp and kill him. Between Psystorms plus the Zealots and Goons, he would end up losing all the Goliaths. So there's definitely some good tactics being utilized from Motive. It's just that he was too far behind when he started utilizing these tactics. All right, looks like we're going to have Motive run down to the south. He's done with that area. Massive Psystorms coming out as Vultures came in to pick off those High Templars. Not a bad trade, right? Really, for both sides. I mean, you both did as best as you could in that situation. Looks like another Scan base going to be attacked. Picking off quite a few SCVs here. Still so many SCVs out on the map for Scan. His economy not that badly hurt from losing the space. But he can pick off another one here as well. I love that he made it out of range of this pylon. So it's just like a sneaky gas base. He doesn't need the minerals. Well, it will end up going down. You can see, again, like, just the terrain. People wonder sometimes what makes a good carrier map, and it's two things. One, it's hard for Terran to attack you early. Two, it has a lot of shifts like this where the carriers fly over and the Goliaths have to walk forever to get around. Any situation like that, carriers become very strong in. Okay, looks like this should be the last attack, though. A great Psystorm's going down, but the overall army size is simply too low here for Motive. This third base going to be picked off. The fourth base as well, no doubt. Carriers microing their heart out here against the Goliaths, but it is a losing battle. GG is called, and Scan takes down the ultimate battle 5-4.